right, so here's the beginning of it.
Greetings from MinnyApple.com. I'm Matthew McIntosh, and this is Joey Flip. Today we are talking about guitars, music, and all that jazz or blues. So first order of business, Joey, is you're a creator of an oil can guitar.
Yeah.
So tell me about this oil can guitar.
Yeah, so me and my neighbor, Mike Jensen, he's definitely the brains behind any type of mechanical building and engineering. But we just had the idea about a year and a half ago. We thought it'd be kind of cool to try to take one of our old oil cans, and I got a bunch of guitar parts laying around, so we thought it'd be cool to try it out. I was pretty pessimistic about it, but Mike he definitely was up to the challenge, and it was really hard to do it at first. It was lots of trial and error and cutting through metal and cleaning the metal and trying to find something that worked. But it took us like a month or two before we finally got some sound, and it looked kind of ugly, but we were so excited that it worked, and we thought it would look cool, and we were hoping that it would sound different because of the metal, and it sounded, in our opinion, it sounded really unique with the metal. So after that one, we tried making a second one. It was a little easier after the first learning curve. So yeah, then we just kind of been building them from there.
So how's the sound different from a regular guitar or a steel guitar to an oil can guitar?
Yeah, that's kind of stuff that we're still kind of researching, like the physics and of electric guitars, because electric guitar has a magnetic pickup, which is literally a magnet with copper wire wrapped around it.
Right.
And then any electric guitar is just a wood body, so it's only reacting to these metal strings in the magnetic field. But now when you have a whole, basically a hollow body metal can, so now all the metal reacts to the pickup, different spots. Right. So it adds more like sustain, more tone, overtones, and all that stuff that we're kind of learning about. But yeah, I think it adds a really cool tone to it, like the warmth and brightness of all that fun stuff.
Nice. So I'm pretty sure everyone's wondering, where do you get these cans from? How do you come across these cans? And then, are there any kind of special kind of cans that you look for?
Yeah, it's good. That's what everyone asks. We just started on eBay. We just looked around eBay. Like, there's a lot of art collectors that will buy and sell just old, 60-year-old antique oil cans. So we kind of started buying them from art collectors, and we just kind of bid on a bunch of them. We ended up winning the bids, so our oil can inventory built up pretty fast. But yeah, we experimented with, this is a 1-gallon can. And we did a lot of 2-gallon cans, which are obviously a little more volume, boxier.
Right.
But yeah, so a lot of 1-gallon and 2-gallon cans, and then I think that they both sound pretty similar. Another thing that we did is where this pickup sits in here in electric guitars, it's recessed in the wood, so we hollowed out that kind of chamber. So if you pulled this pickup out of there, you would see all the way through the can. Right. So now the magnetic field can shoot all the way to the back of back here. So it kind of, what we've noticed is by doing that, it adds a lot more like boom to it. If you add like percussive stuff, like so that kind of added more tone, especially if you plug it in a big Fender amp. It's pretty cool.
Right. I noticed that this is a sway bar. Why is that?
Oh, what's that?
A sway bar?
Oh, this thing here?
Or is that the same thing?
The whammy bar?
Yeah, the whammy bar.
Oh, yeah, yeah. So the first one we made, I had a Stratocaster, which had this tremolo bridge with that tremolo whammy bar on there. Yeah. So we had 3 single coil pickups, and we had the whammy bar on there, so you could do that. But these bridges don't have the whammy bar, so it's like technically like a hardtail bridge with no whammy bar. But we made those before. Those are pretty cool.
Nice. So how many have you been selling?
I think we sold like 25 in the last year and a half or so. So kind of definitely more than we thought would happen. So yeah, about 25, including we're working on our second left-handed oil can guitar for a customer in Canada right now. We did a bass oil can guitar and a banjo, which we called a canjo. And then we also were working on a lap steel. So we took some old deck spindles in my garage, like for a patio deck, and we glued them together and laid it flat, and we turned it into like a lap slide guitar.
Oh, nice.
So we have some other ideas in the works.
So with how's this fit in the blues scene? Are
Well,
people picking up on it?
Yeah, I think I personally love all types of music, and blues has always been a big inspiration. But I think you hear those stories of back in the olden blues days where people would, hear stories that they would take like people couldn't afford guitars, especially a lot of like back in the slave days. So they would take broom wire from like a broom and like tie it to like a chicken bone and like pluck like a one-string thing. And then you hear stories about them making like cigar box guitars and oil can guitars. I think the cigar box guitar is a little more popular, and people using like a slide or a knife instead of a slide. So they would use like a knife for that. So I think it's kind of that ritzy Americana blues. It fits into that category. So it sounds good for all that stuff, but I play it for even a lot of rock and roll stuff. So if I add like distortion to it. So I think it sounds cool for that stuff too. So I use this in my shows probably like 90% of the time now because I like these.
Nice.
Yeah.
So were you inspired by the older style, like handmade cigar boxes? When
Yeah.
you made these oil cans?
Yeah, because I bought a cheaper resonator guitar, and those are kind of like the old blues style and Delta, especially for slide. So slide's not really my wheelhouse, but I've been wanting to like learn more slide guitar, so I bought a cheap resonator. And then I saw another company where kind of started off like we did, where they started making these oil can guitars in their garage, and but now they started kind of mass produced them. So I was thinking about buying one of those, but so that's when my buddy Mike, my neighbor, he said, "Well, let's just try building one. We could figure it out."
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're talking about bringing these to shows. With shows, you're the event coordinator or the creator of the Stevie Ray Vaughan Tribute show. Tell me more about that.
Yeah, so like Stevie Ray Vaughan has been like definitely one of my #1 inspirations growing up for guitar and just improvising and everything. So I was always a huge fan of him, and I just thought how cool would it be just to gather all the best of the best local talent, and a lot of these guys tour nationally and internationally all over the world. So I wanted to grab the best of the best as far as the guitar players, drummers, bass players, keyboard players, vocalists, and throw them all under one roof and basically just showcase all the Stevie Ray Vaughan music and his legacy, but also showcase all the amazing local talent. So yeah, this Saturday, April 14th, will be our 3rd annual Stevie Ray Vaughan Tribute show.
How many? Have you had any other exposures with like the Stevie Ray Vaughan show or with your oil cans?
Yeah, well, I think this year will be the first year that I'll be playing the oil can on stage for some of the songs. But the Stevie Tribute we did last year, my friends Rick introduced me to his friend T, and she was close friends with Stevie Ray Vaughan and all his friends and family. So she invited me to their Stevie Ray Vaughan. It was kind of more like a memorial to help fund a foundation that Stevie's mother started after he passed away to help offer blues and music education for kids.
Right.
So I was fortunate enough to be invited to go down to Dallas last October and kind of be a part of that show and hang out and meet so many of Stevie's friends and family and just hear like on a personal level like all the fun stories about Stevie as a person. And it was just like it was the coolest thing just hearing all those stories from all of his close friends and and seeing all these cool pictures and selfies from back before selfie was even a term with Stevie and all of his friends. So it was and I've never been to Texas before, and I got to see his statue and everything, and meet so many cool musicians. So that was amazing.
Well, awesome. Before we let you play any kind of song you want to play, when is the Stevie Ray Vaughan show again, and where can they see it? Where can they purchase tickets?
Yeah, so it's this Saturday, April 14, at the Cabooze in Minneapolis, which is a super legendary venue there. But doors open at 8 p.m. Show starts at 9. It's 18 plus. Tickets are only $15 or $17 at the door. So you can go to the Cabooze website and pre-order sales or pre-order tickets or get them at the door. So yeah, this Saturday at 9 o'clock, I think we have like 19 musicians total that are on the roster for the show. So it's going to be an amazing night.
Oh, nice. Before we take off and let Joey Flip play his music, remember to check into MinnyApple.com for your local weather, your news, and upcoming events. And more information that you need about the Cabooze show for Stevie Ray Vaughan will be at MinnyApple.com. All right, it's all you.
Thank you. So this is Stevie's song I'm going to do here.
Thank